Hey, who's that guy you're always watching on the internet with the wet hair talking about everybody's problems? It's just me! This video is brought to you by Squarespace. Again, thank you so much to Squarespace. If you need a website, online store, an online portfolio, make it with them. I do, and it's easy and it looks awesome. So we'll talk about them more later. My name is Miranda and I am 19 years old and I recently got my first job at a fast food place. Overall it doesn't suck, however I have this one coworker, I won't say his real name, so let's call him Tim. I put that in italics, cause me and you know. That ruins everything, all the time. Tim is very arrogant and always talking down to people. One day I literally went home crying because of him. Best example of his behavior would be one time I told him we didn't have any chicken on the line, and it turns out that we did. It was just in a different spot than normal and I didn't see it. Now a normal person would say something like, oh, we have some, see? It's right over here. And then I would say, oh thanks, I didn't see it, my bad, and we'd go on with our lives. Instead, Tim says, really? It's right here. I don't know how you came up with that one unless you didn't look. So many of those words are unnecessary. I never did anything to this guy and I can't stand his attitude. Low-flying plane. It's seriously driving me crazy because there's no reason to treat people the way he does. Many of my coworkers are not fans of Tim's either. Tim got no fans! So I know that it's not a personal grievance. The problem is he does know what he's doing and is very good at his job, so usually when he's making a snarky comment, no one could correct him because he's usually right. It's not about being right all the time. People put too much emphasis on being right. But being right doesn't mean you could talk to somebody like they are inferior. Sure, he's been working there for 3 years, but newsflash, I've been working there for 3 months and we got the same job. Is there a way that I could express to Tim that there are better ways to communicate? I'm not one to really stand up for myself or cause any type of confrontation, but I don't want to be walked all over and be miserable at work because of one person. What would you do if you were in my situation? Have you ever had coworkers like this? I'd appreciate any advice that you can give me. Ooh. You're always gonna have shitty people at jobs because you have to be at your job. Hey, if he's been there for 3 years and you've been there for 3 months, chances are that's the source of a lot of this aggravation. Does that give Tim the right to be a big D with cheese? No, it does not. But the first step to fixing it is understanding it. Now, when he points something out in a condescending way, you could say, oh, thank you, Tim. I had no idea. You must have known because you've been here longer than the paint on the fucking walls, but that's not gonna end well. One of you has to be the bigger person in this situation or you're both small and you won't be able to reach anything. Like a understanding. We move on. If it were me, I think I'd try to pull him aside and talk to him in an environment where he wouldn't be embarrassed, because that's the kind of thing that people like Tim get worried about. Now, is it your job to coddle Tim's ego? Absolutely not, but it is your job to make that money. I just think people are normally more receptive to see you. Bye, Zoe. I'll see you. I just think that people are normally more receptive to things like constructive criticism and where there's no distractions. You ever try to help somebody better themselves at like a laser tag? Doesn't work out. That's a bad example. But if he's not willing to hear any of that, I honestly think the best course of action is to just put your head down and block him out. My mom and dad have both had to deal with asshats in the workplace for as long as I can remember. Also, asshats in the workplace, my favorite off-Broadway play. I've even been told that I could be condescending at times in a work environment, but I'll tell you this, I wouldn't have done that at all if I knew that I had been doing it in the first place. So sometimes people don't know and they just need to be told about themselves for a second. You make them aware of what they're doing and then they stop what they're doing if they're a halfway decent person. Maybe that guy is just unaware completely of the way he comes off, because some people are like that. Maybe he's a dick. Maybe he has a really shitty life when he goes home. Are any of these things your problem? Not until you have to deal with him at work, but I'll also say that any job you have, since this is your first one, will have people who absolutely don't want to be there and are going to be tough to deal with. The best jobs in the world are the ones with the fewest amount of those people there, but they're always there because it's a job. So this is a good introduction to sometimes you just got to deal with people's shit. But what you can do is when you're at work, you could direct your eyes to wherever your money's coming from, because listening to Tim doesn't pay your bills. Maintaining a good relationship with the chicken, that's what does it. Thank you again to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. Squarespace is awesome. They've powered MikeFalzone.com for years, so if you want a good example of a Squarespace website or a halfway decent example of a Squarespace website, go to MikeFalzone.com. I love them so much because anytime I've ever had a problem or something went down or whatever, they have 24/7 customer support, so I contact them, and the problem is usually not a problem within like 2 days at most. I know nothing about HTML, so it's using Squarespace is a really easy way to get like a beautiful looking website without being like too technically savvy, and you save a lot of time there. It's easy to maintain and update, and they have all these templates by like award-winning graphic designers, so no matter what you do, it's going to look good, and it's going to automatically conform to people's mobile devices, because when you say I have a brand new website, they're not going to go home to their desktop because people don't have desktops anymore. They're going to go to their phone and they're going to say, oh, Miranda has a new website, and then Miranda's website will pop up on their phone, and you didn't even have to change nothing. It's awesome. So if any of that is interesting to you, go to squarespace.com/MikeFalzone to get 10% off your first order, and then send me your website once you make it so I can check it out. And then we can look at each other's websites. That's all we do anyway, right? As people in 2017, look at each other on the internet, unless you go to work and then you have to listen to each other's problems. Yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you this weekend. Also, if you're still watching this video, I have a show tonight, which is Tuesday the 28th at the world famous Comedy Store in Los Angeles, Hollywood, California. So if you want to come, I'm in the belly room, 7:45. Come hang out. Come hang out. This is kind of Requiem for a Dreamish. Come hang out. All right, I'll see you this weekend.